Yeah, I'm basically building an AI that watches your session replays and tells you how people are using your products. I moved to San Francisco a few months ago from Sydney, Australia. And before Lucent, I was working on my first company in edtech. And before then, I was a founding engineer at another Australian startup.
Yes, and that company was acquired by Canva, is that right?
Yes.
What does the future of software development look like in this world where you can have AI identify the bugs, write the code, review the code, push it? What does the future look like?
Yeah, it will be very, very automated, and it will just increase our shipping velocity by so much. I also think apart from just coding, I think basically we're building the user behavior contexts for AI agents, and we're starting with coding QA. But I think it can also be applied to so many other functions in the organization, like customer support, for example, product management, marketing, sales. So we want to eventually inject into all these functions across the org to provide user context to AI agents.
Napa helps founders and executives turn their words into new leads, more customers, investor meetings, new hires, and press mentions. Get started at usenapa.com. Fondo, the all-in-one accounting platform for startups. Bookkeeping, taxes, and tax credits on autopilot.
All right, welcome to our next guest. We are lucky to have Alisa Rae, the solo founder and CEO of Lucent. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Good to be here.
So congrats on Demo Day. Really exciting to follow along the Lucent story. Can you tell us a little bit about what you're building and your journey from Australia to San Francisco?
Yeah, I'm basically building an AI that watches your session replays and tells you how people are using your products. I moved to San Francisco a few months ago from Sydney, Australia. And before Lucent, I was working on my first company in edtech. And before then, I was a founding engineer at another Australian startup called Magic Brew.
Yes, and that company was acquired by Canva, is that right?
Yes.
Wow. And so what is the SF startup scene like compared to Australia? And can you tell us about your pre-seed fundraising? Because that came together very quickly here in SF.
Yeah. Startup scene in SF, it's very different to Australia. Australia, basically the culture, it's very chill. It's very relaxing. People there don't really tend to be have ambitious dreams like building a startup. And there's also a thing called the tall poppy syndrome where if you are ambitious in Australia, people try to be oh, why are you ambitious? That's so weird. So it's not very common. And all my ambitious friends, or most of my ambitious friends from Australia actually all moved to SF. So we have a growing community of Australians here, which is nice.
Yes.
Yeah, SF, I love SF. People here kind of just everyone inspires me so much. There's so many brilliant, smart people. It's just a great place to be in.
And when you got to SF initially, for all the other folks who want to come to SF from Australia or other parts of the world, how did you find community in SF? Where was your first stop?
Yeah, definitely get on Twitter. When I first got here, I knew maybe 3 Australians that I've met in person before. Everyone else I kind of knew from Twitter that I wasn't even sure if they're real people. So I kind of got here. My first day in SF, I spent it with a friend from Australia. And then after that, I just kept on bumping into new people, either from Twitter or just from events randomly. So I think if you're new to the city, definitely get on Twitter and definitely go to as many events as you can for the first month and just meet as many people as you can.
And it's blowing up. I think we're in sort of the golden age of SF once again. So tell us about your journey to YC. So you were originally a solo founder. You applied to YC. And you decided, I'm going to try to get a co-founder. And then ultimately, you decided to do YC as a solo founder. So tell us about that experience.
Yeah, so YC has been my dream for such a long time. I remember just being in high school and listening to the podcasts every day on my way to school. So I applied for the first time for the summer batch last year and as a solo founder. And they actually rejected me and with an automated email that said, oh, go find a co-founder. Try again next time. And I was really heartbroken. And that's why I actually came to SF for the first time in June after getting that rejection email because I didn't really know anyone in Australia that I wanted to co-found with. So I flew to SF hoping that I would find a co-founder here somehow, and I actually did end up meeting a lot of incredible people. But I kind of realized it's such a big risk to co-found with someone I just met. So I was okay, I feel very comfortable solo founding actually. And if YC doesn't accept me because of lack of co-founder, I think I can just do it solo anyways.
Yeah.
So I actually decided to go ahead solo. and then ended up raising a pre-seed. And then I kind of got like the like temptation or like wanted to apply to YC again for the winter batch. I was like, oh, I do really want to do YC. It has been like a dream of mine for such a long time. So I applied again, and I got in like the second time around. Yeah.
Wow. Congratulations. I think a lot of us applied several times to YC and can relate to that. You know, it's you get the feedback the first time, you try again, and it's great to see founders doing that. Because do you know on average how many times founders apply before they get into YC? Is there a stat on this?
Maybe, if I had to guess, maybe like half the batch applied before. Yeah.
So your pre-seed round, that came together really quickly, and there was a lot of like it went viral on Twitter, right? Because I think you raised it within 36 hours. Is that how that happened?
That's what the press says.
Yeah.
That's not exactly like. I don't
What's
know.
the story?
Basically, my round, I was originally trying to raise like 700, 800, and that 700, 800 came around like really quickly, like in like 36 hours. But then the actual round, like people kept on putting more money in over like the next 2 weeks, and then I ended on like 1.3 million together total raised. So like the entire 1.3 million took like 2 weeks, but like my round technically closed in like 36 hours. But like the press keeps on like saying, oh, she raised like 1.3 million in 36 hours. I was like, no, that's crazy. Like I did not do that.
The press always has their own story, right?
Yeah.
But that's still pretty incredible. 2 weeks. And now you just went through the whole fundraising experience with YC. What advice do you have for founders? Because you've done it both ways now, and they're both hard in different ways. What advice do you have for founders raising that first tranche of money, that pre-seed round, and how should founders think about it? And any tips on how to get it done fast?
Yeah, I think speed is not the most important thing. I think the most important thing, at least for me, in my opinion, is like getting good investors. All my pre-seed investors are like incredibly helpful, and YC as well. I'm really grateful for them. So I would not really focus on speed. I would just focus on like putting myself in a position to have the best, or like the investors that I would be most happy working with.
Yep. And how did you meet your first investor in San Francisco?
First investor through interest, yeah.
Through interest.
Just keep meeting people, and then like you'll somehow get intro to.
So you came to SF not knowing anyone except a few people on Twitter. Networked a bunch for the first month, and then got intros to close your pre-seed round in 2 years, or sorry, 2 weeks. That's really fast. And so what was Lucent back then? Has it changed at all, or how did you come up with the vision for Lucent?
Yeah, it's actually quite a few pivots. So when I first started Lucent, it was like this, basically the current idea. But then after working on it, after I came to San Francisco, I befriended a bunch of AI researchers, and they heard about what I was working on, and they're like, "Oh, we want to buy your raw session replay data for training our browser agents." And then at that point, I was like, "Oh, maybe there's like a big opportunity here if I just pivoted completely to selling training data." So I pivoted my entire company in like August, September, to focus on the training data idea entirely. It was basically, the idea was like a way to make money off your free users by selling their session replay data to labs for training their browser agents. So kind of like do your AdSense, except replacing the ads with Lucent, and you can sell this data. But worked on that for like 3-4 months, and I realized I have no passion in this space, and like a bunch of other reasons. So I pivoted back like 2 months ago into the first idea I started Lucent with.
Wow. And so tell us, what is Lucent today?
Yeah, it basically watches your user sessions on your website, and it kind of analyzes it the way a human analyst would. So it would look for like friction points, it would look for bugs, it would like tell you trends in user behavior for a certain stage of the user journey, for example.
And it connects to PostHog, and what other platforms do you integrate with?
Just PostHog right now, but we're building our own SEO.
We love PostHog.
Yeah, I love PostHog.
We actually need to start using Lucent. The value proposition is to see every bug your users experience. So all of us, every builder of any product that has users sort of faces this this question, right? Like, where are my users getting stuck? And so how do people are doing this manually before Lucent, right?
Yeah.
And it's a pretty big problem, especially as you have a ton of users. Is there any limitations to how many sessions you can review? Like, how does the customers use the product?
Yeah, right now it's like they can choose how many sessions they want analyzed per month. Most commonly, that's like around 10K.
Okay.
And that's usually enough to cover a lot of the user journey on the platform.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, before, like, it's such a tedious process. Like, it's impossible to watch through every single session manually, and like we actually waste a lot of the data that we collect. So it's like we don't have enough human hours to watch them all.
Yeah, and it takes less than a minute to get started, right? So you just come in, you connect your PostHog, and you don't even have to drag your sessions, anything. It just automatically pulls them in. Wow.
Yeah, you just make an API key in PostHog, and then you just post into Lucent.
And so what has changed in in the models and this whole world of agents that we're in now? Has there been like pretty significant changes since you started Lucent that makes the product better? And what are you excited about for the future?
Yeah, I actually had this idea for the first time in like 2022, and I built a prototype that looks very much like Lucent today in 2022, and it didn't work because the AI was not advanced enough. And it only works when I tried again like a few months ago. It works really well now.
Wow. Wow. And I saw you have some pretty incredible companies using it. Julius, Mastra. Mastra also a supporter of the show. BrowserUse. What's the most any interesting things that customers have discovered after using Lucent?
Many bugs that they didn't know existed, like people failing to upgrade, for example. I think those are the most valuable ones so far.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just been cool, like to have like insights into how people are actually using your products.
Yeah. And is there any, it's just so crazy right now. So you can imagine someone using Lucent and like having some pipeline of data from Lucent into Claude Code and like automatically fix bugs before you even know about them. Are people doing that? Are people automating beyond the review into like PRs?
Yeah, so very commonly, so right now, Lucent sends you like alerts in Slack, for example, if it spots any issues or bugs. And the very common workflow with my users is like they just tag Cursor or like some coding agent within Slack to make a PR based on the information that Lucent gives it.
Wow.
And, yeah.
So it goes from Lucent to AI generated PR to probably AI generated code review.
Yeah.
What is the future of like software development look like in this world where you can have AI identify the bugs, write the code, review the code, push it? I mean, what does the future look like?
Yeah, it will be very, very automated, and it will just increase our shipping velocity by so much.
Yeah.
And I also think like apart from just coding, I think like basically we're building like the user behavior contexts for AI agents, and we're starting with like coding QA. But I think it can also be applied to like so many other functions in the organization, like customer support, for example, or like product management, marketing, sales. So we want to eventually inject into like all these functions across the org to provide user context to AI agents.
Oh, wow. So user session replays are one thing, customer support tickets are another thing. You can almost see this automated workflow across every department in the company.
Yeah, basically, we're basically taking like the session replays as like the one source of truth,
Okay.
and then extracting like user behavior data based on that, and then injecting it across like QA, customer support, all that other functions.
Wow. And so where can everyone follow along? Where can we follow you on X? Where can we follow Lucent?
Yeah, Lucent is Lucent_AI, and my account is just Rae Alisa_.
Awesome. And what advice do you have for founders that are applying to YC today for the next batch?
I think just do it, and you shouldn't get a co-founder just for YC. I think you can do it solo.
Yeah, solo founders. Yeah. There's a huge trend with solo founders.
Yes.
That like what did AI have any part or this trend, or was this just totally like I'm gonna do it solo? Do you think there's more people feeling that?
I think there's definitely been a trend of more people solo founding. I think AI definitely helps a lot with enabling that these days. And I think I saw a tweet recently from my friend. He said that the spring batch this year in YC has like 30% solo founders, which is like crazy.
I saw that too.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah. And then Carda and Solo had this report that came out where I think, Dylan, do you remember this? Julian came on and talked about it. It was like the number of solo founders, has gone up so dramatically.
Yeah.
Well, incredible, Alisa. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Congratulations on all the success. We got to get Fondo on Lucent, so we'll be working on that, and we'll follow along at lucenthq.com and follow Alisa.
Napa. Napa helps founders and executives turn their words into new leads, more customers, investor meetings, new hires, and press mentions. Get started at usenapa.com. Fondo, the all-in-one accounting platform for startups. Bookkeeping, taxes, and tax credits on autopilot.